Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is our Jack Ryan whiskey tasting event. And tonight we're going to sample a couple of the offerings from the Jack Ryan brand range. Hear all about the history of the Ryan family, the brand, what they're doing, and the person that we have that can tell us all about that is Wayne Curran from Jack Ryan. So
good evening.
Welcome, Wayne. Thanks. Very appreciative that you joined us tonight. I realize it's very late there in Dublin. So
Saturday.
Is it raining there like it is everywhere else in Ireland, it seems like?
No, it's yeah, but not that type of rain. You know, and it's wet outside, but it's not bad. It's just cold. It's very cold.
But at least
we're not suffering like Cork.
Yeah, at least
Yeah. Did you see the picture of the Powers Court waterfall?
Yes.
No.
Just got, holy cow.
I was going to tweet that out today and with a picture of the group when we were there in May for our group trip and just kind of do the comparison, because it was good that we weren't there today. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But let me, I think you all received your kits, which have 2 samples that we're going to be trying tonight, as well as a few different tasting note placards. I think I also have that going on in the background tonight of the video. But I guess with that all being said, I'll turn it over, Wayne, to you and let you, tell a little bit about yourself and kind of get things going.
Yeah. So, well, on my side of things, I'm the global business development manager for Jack Ryan Whiskey. So I came on board. I'm on board a year now, and it's my job to work on building the brand globally, and here in Ireland and abroad, working with distributors, to try and build that brand presence, source casks, plan future projects, and work on the whiskies that we already had on board before I came as well. It's a small company, so it's there's a lot of roles within my job. There's myself, there's Ewan Ryan, there's Connor Ryan, and then there's also the cult drinks, which is also owned by Ewan, that has a few more people on board. But as far as the whiskey is concerned, that's my side of things. And as far as the history of before me coming on board, it literally goes back 6 generations of the Ryans to when they were like barley farmers and distillery managers. But the whiskey finishing really started in around 1913 when Thomas Ryan, he moved from Tumabara in Tipperary to Haddington Road in Dublin. And what he did was he acquired a chain of pubs, and he would buy in aged premium malt, and he would finish it in his own port and sherry casks, and then he'd sell it on to his customers. Yeah, so basically, he would finish in his own port and sherry casks and sell it on to his customers, and that continued on with his son, Jack Ryan, until around the 1950s, when distillery closures and recession and everything else brought everything to a halt. Ewan Ryan then revived it so before it was called Ryan's Malt, and then Ewan revived it in 2013 under the name the Jack Ryan Whiskey Company. And the first whiskey release that he did was the Jack Ryan 12-year-old. So one of the samples that you have there. Do we all have it in a glass?
Which one? The 12-year. So
Yeah, so like over here we call it the Beggars Bush 12-year-old. Because we also have our Finisher's Touch 12-year-old, which is our Madeira finish. This is fully aged in bourbon, so it's the kind of the only whiskey we have that stayed its full time in its cask. It didn't go into any type of finishing cask. And as you can see there, it's, yeah, so it's 46% single malt. All our whiskies are single malts as of now. We will start doing other projects, but they've all been single malts up until now. And this one, along with the Generation Trilogy, are 46%. So as you can kind of tell on the nose, it's very clean, but it's all that kind of tropical fruit, passion fruit, pineapple, lemon, all that kind of comes through. The difference I would say on this whiskey versus all of our other whiskies is, and you'll notice it then when you kind of take your first taste, is it has a very kind of oily, viscous mouthfeel, which isn't in our other whiskies. And I put that down to when they change their cask and go into their finishing cask. But this one has that kind of beautiful, oily, viscous mouthfeel. Then on the finish, it becomes a bit more kind of malty and biscuity. You get that honey, a bit of honey and ginger as well that comes through. This was released in 2013, which was 100 years on from when the whiskey finishing first started. We then entered that into the Irish Whiskey Awards, where it won gold for the best single malt Irish 12 years and younger. And then we also entered it into the San Francisco World Spirits competition in 2017, and that won gold. What we kind of have now in Jack Ryan is we have our own bonded warehouse. We have our own finishing hall. We do labeling, we do the bottling, we do everything ourselves. So even down to the labels, they're put on by hand by ourselves. And what we like to kind of do as much as possible, as well as, like, this is a 12-year bourbon matured that's just all Jack Ryan, but we do collaborations. So you'll see from like our Generation Trilogy. I don't know if you've seen any of those whiskies. You have the Tomb of Ara, the Haddington, and the Finisher's Touch. And the Tomb of Ara is named because of where Thomas came from, where it all started. The Haddington is named from where Thomas then moved to get the Beggars Bush pub. And the Finisher's Touch is named the Finisher's Touch because Tomb of Ara, the Beggars Bush went on and won gold. The Tomb of Ara then went on and won gold when we released that in 2018, the Haddington in 2019, and then we released the Finisher's Touch in 2021. And because everything else had gone into these, now when I say these awards as well, they're kind of prestigious blind tasting awards. So there's no, it's not like the name was on the bottle as they went in. So they've won it off their own merit. We've always known that the juice that we produce is we think is incredible. You should judge that for yourselves. But it's about building the brand's name as well, which is what we're working on at the moment. And the Finisher's Touch we thought was just a fitting name because we had been successful with the whiskies we've done up until that point. What do we think about this whiskey?
Well, I'll start. I'm a big fan of this, and as much as I like the finishing stuff, it's nice to be able to just have a exclusively bourbon aged
single cask.
And it's so you can't, it's kind of hard to find 12-year-old just straight bourbon cask single malt. So that's what drew me to this several years ago.
Yeah.
Plus the higher ABV too is nice. So I've been a fan of this, particularly with, when you're looking for something that doesn't have a wine or other type of finish, for variety. But what do other people think?
You will find that as well, like even when I'm doing tastings, and although like the other whiskies, it's incredible some of the kind of the stories behind the other whiskies and the traveling of the casks and those kind of connections, because like you were saying there with the wine finishes and stuff like that, a lot of the times you don't know where these casks came from, what was in these casks beforehand. So I do like those finishes, and especially when they have like a kind of a deeper connection, and it's not just a red wine finish or a Bordeaux finish, it's a Lynch Badge finish. So you know exactly what was in those casks. But yes, at tastings, you will find a big percentage of people who will still say that at what we call the Beggars Bush 12-year-old is their favorite.
Mhm.
But I did see a question pop up there saying, are all the whiskeys the same? So,
Well, I think,
yes.
I think the question was the differentiation between Beggars Bush and 12-year, but it's the Beggars Bush 12-year is the name of the whiskey.
Yeah, so like we call it the Beggars Bush over here because the bourbon 12-year-olds and the Madeira 12-year-olds, they're both widely sold and everywhere over here. So you kind of have to give it a different name just so that people know which one you're talking about,
Mhm.
So that one is the Finisher's Touch and this one is the Beggars Bush. So it's easier than just saying the 12-year-old single malt because they're both 12-year-olds.
Right.
But on that question, when it's an interesting one when they're saying is that they're the same whiskies. And yeah, that's what I find amazing about these whiskies as well, is that they are the same original whiskey. This one stayed in its bourbon. The rest of them were in bourbon and then came out and went into their finishing casks, that I would call them. And if you have had a chance to taste them, or when you do get a chance to taste them, to see that dramatic change that happens with that finishing cask, it's quite incredible.
One of the questions too that came up was, I think, the distilleries that you're working with and where you're sourcing some of this from. Are you able to share that, or?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, it's like I said, it's all important. So a lot of what we like to do as much as possible is make things as kind of transparent as possible, and that's what we like about the collaborations as well. So it brings those people in, and like this whiskey is Cooley, so it's the same with the Beggar's Bush, the Haddington, the Tumavara, and the Finisher's Touch are all Cooley. The Raglan Road that you will be drinking is GND, so Great Northern Distillery.
And the Beggars Bush, is that considered part of the core lineup?
The Beggar's Bush is the core whiskey.
So, and I guess where I'm going with that is that will be a mainstay, and you'll continue to offer that.
No, it is a core whiskey, but it won't always be the core whiskey.
Okay, fair enough. No, that was why I was curious if it was because it's 12-year Cooley is not necessarily always going to be a stable source of that.
Yeah, and look, if it's a case of there is another 12-year-old bourbon mature that we do that becomes a core whiskey, it won't be able to be the Beggar's Bush because it won't be the same juice. And like I said, it's important that it is kind of transparent and people kind of know the full story of what it is that they're drinking, as much as we possibly can. There will be parts of certain whiskies, I'm sure, as things come out and what happens, that we won't be able to give 100% provenance exactly on every single cask or whatever, but that's what we try to do as much as we can.
Maybe
the Tom Clancy in that pop up there. It's funny because in tastings, I'd say it comes up nearly every tasting, if I'd say so, every second tasting anyway. So yeah, a lot of people will jump straight to, oh, is this an American whiskey? You know, and like, no, it's not. No, then why is it called Jack Ryan? You know, and so it's just like the Union's dad's name was Jack Ryan, and he did do the whiskey finishing. So it's just unfortunate for us that it kind of ties into the same with the name of the show. So
well, it can drive the American consumer though to the brand too. I don't think
that's true.
hurt.
Yeah, true.
So some of the history too, I think people may have picked up on it when you were going through the Generations trilogy and then this, but so they're named after roads where you either were the family was from originally or where they are now in Dublin, correct?
Yeah, like a lot of them are D4 names, in fairness. Like even the new whiskey is called Shelbourne.
Okay.
So yeah, the Beggars Bush is named after the pub. So the chain of pubs that I was saying that Thomas Ryan acquired, one of them was the Beggars Bush, and that is still in the family to this day. Sorry guys, I should have this chat up because they only pop up for a second.
People are just commenting on the whiskey itself. How much?
Yeah, the 46%. You're saying you really like the 46%. It's interesting because we actually did release this as a cask strength single cask as well. No, it's sold out. We don't have it, but yeah. So I never actually got to taste that one, which is actually really sad. Yeah,
the pub doesn't have it either. No bottles floating around there.
no. And do you know what the weird thing is, and something that I'm trying to obviously I'm going to change now, is like you'll find when a lot of people they release whiskies, whoever it is that produced that whiskey, they will hold on to say bottles 1 to 12 or whatever like that. Jack Ryan's never done that. Yeah, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because there are whiskies that I know the story of, and you know, and that'll be part and parcel of like my day-to-day life when you might be talking to certain people and they'd be like, oh, I had this, and I'm like, I'm glad you did. I never got a chance to try it. So we will be keeping those type of whiskies kind of going forward. Make sure we keep the first few numbers for the family, especially. Yeah, it's nice. But so we did release a cask strength version of that. But the 46%, we still would get a lot of people now that would say they would like it a little bit lower. But people who are into their whiskey, they like the 46.
Yeah, I think what's nice too about, a lot of at least here in the States, for years, single malt was pretty much just represented by Bushmills, and they were all at 40%. So I know there have been other brands too that have been coming at 46%, but I think that was kind of a welcome
thing.
Yeah,
palates have been palates are accustomed to that kind of 40, even that 43. Whereas ours are, yes, everything's been minimum 46, and then it kind of goes up for there. We do cask strength as well. And
the currently the
nice Jeff's had some really nice Jack Ryans there.
Yeah, you got to find out where he lives, Wayne.
I know, right? I might get a chance to try them myself.
I was gonna say, and everyone's gonna be scouring the auctions now, trying to see if they can find any of those original bottles still floating around.
Yeah, and if you do, you'll have one, and you and Ryan won't.
Well, it's funny. I'm looking at this bottle that I have. I've had it for a year, but it doesn't have a number on it, so I don't know. I don't see it anyway, but so and the right now, for those who may be trying this for the first time or haven't seen the brand yet, the Beggars Bush 12-year and the Raglan Road that we're going to try, those are both available in the States right now.
Yes, yeah. It would, like I said, it would have been nice to have all the whiskies, but yeah, that's what's there at the moment. And then we're working on that project. We're working on kind of building it up. But so basically, as far as the kind of the states are concerned, we have our importer and a distributor who are the same, and they will distribute out of the four states, but they will also distribute out to distributors who will go into other states. And there's just no way of me knowing on this end where it's going to reach. So who it's kind of available to and who it's not available to, it's a lot less kind of controls than it is over here. Over here, I can pinpoint exactly where it is in this country.
Yeah, I think feel free to chime in, anybody, but I think it's in California, Texas, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Washington, Nevada.
I know those states. I've seen it in.
Yeah.
And if you can't find it here, you can. It is
get it on Irish malts.
Yep, it is available at Irish malts. And I was going to say, anybody who's traveling to Dublin, certainly go to the pub, the Beggars Bush pub, and you can try the whole lineup, or not the whole lineup. Yeah. What's left?
Most of them.
But don't go when there's a big football match or whatever, because you can't really get to the bar and order it. It's tough. I tried.
Yeah.
Big when there's a big event at Aviva, it's like a standing room only. You need to go.
Yeah, you just have to stand in your corner and shout Guinness, and they'll just bring one over to you.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yep. Any other questions or anything that anybody comments have on the Beggars Bush 12-year before maybe we advance to the next one?
Yeah, just on the distribution, because as I've mentioned in our chat and on the online page, I picked up a bottle of Finisher's Touch, Tumavera and Haddington, and the Beggars Bush at one of the local liquor stores here in Tempe, Arizona.
Fantastic.
They
Fantastic. I can see them all there in the back.
There you go. Yeah. They were all tested bottles. And I had my eyes on them for quite a while, and I missed out on the Raglan Road, which they also had. Someone snapped that up before I could pull the trigger. But I was wondering,
you've got 5 CLs there anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was wondering, did you guys stop distribution, or was it just a limited edition distribution for the others?
No, it's actually there, and like I said, I would get reports once a week or once a month that will basically say what goes out and show me what remaining stock is there, but it doesn't show me where it goes out to. It just shows me where it goes out from, and that's kind of the part that just kind of leaves me wondering of who is getting to try it and who's not getting to try it. And like I'm glad you managed to get it close to you, because like I said, they are fantastic whiskies. It's just about getting the name out there for people to know, and a chance to try it. Like the Tumavera is a collaboration we did with Chateau de Brule, and from Normandy. So that one is using Calvados casks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So on that one is kind of they actually sent us the casks. Didier Rideau sent us the casks to put our whiskey in, but with the Finisher's Touch, those casks were bought from Lexington, and then they were shipped all the way over to Madeira Island, which is literally no, it's Portugal, but it's literally the coast of Africa, and it's a long journey. And then they were seasoned with 3-year-olds Justinos Madeira for a year before they made their travel all the way back for the whiskey to go in. The Finca Museum is probably one of the best whiskies that I've ever tried. Anyway, just seeing there from that message, you got a sample of the Finca Museum, Tiny Tibbles.
I've seen that on the IWA auctions.
Yeah,
it pops up every once in a while.
yeah, and like this is like Ewan Ryan he's been in the drinks industry for a very, very long time, and just knows a lot of people, and just that was his favorite wine. So he contacted and he got the cask, and it really was an incredible whiskey. There's still bottles floating around in different places like auctions and stuff like that, as far as I know. So the bonded warehouse is in Donabate in Turvey. Seeing from that message there. No, it's basically there's not much out there in Donabate, but our bonded warehouse is out there. Yeah, our finishing hall is there, and that's where we keep all our casks. And what's good about that is it's not like they are being stored elsewhere. So like when there's no fixed time on our casks. Like a lot of people would ask me, how long do you leave them in their finishing cask for? So say the Finisher's Touch versus the Haddington versus the Raglan. And because they're in our bonded warehouse and they're under our control, we can taste them at any given time, every bloody week, every month, whatever we want. So as soon as they hit that right spot is when they come out. But yeah, so which number?
I'm sorry, Wayne, is the at the warehouse, is that where you also do the bottling and hand labeling? Everything's done there? Yeah,
so including everybody else's, well, not everybody else's, but a lot of other kind of brands, we would do their bottling for them and their labeling for them as well.
All right, because that's, I think, something we talked about the other day briefly. So you are doing things for other brands.
Yes, yeah.
Which
so
is
they'll send us their liquids, they'll send us their bottles, they'll send us their labels, and then we'll just do it for them. Right, if they want to store casks in our bonded warehouse, then all good as well. But yeah, so it's much nicer than having it, say, being stored in Stafford's or being stored in somebody else's bonded warehouse, and yeah, you don't have a chance to kind of taste them whenever you want, blend them together, different casks together, come up with different ideas. So it's nice. What bottle numbers have you got there of the Generation Trilogy behind you? Did you get good numbers?
We've got 021 of the Finisher's Touch and 280 of Tumavera and 326 of Haddington.
You have bottle number 21 of Finishers.
Wow. Yep. You got low numbers on all, because I have
That's incredible.
I have 2498 of Tumavera.
Yeah.
So you've got some low numbers.
So that bottle in your hand was about an hour into the bottling.
Yeah, you know, I think he got them at auction off of one of the Ryans.
Yeah, probably.
One of the that they didn't stay in the pub.
There you go. Somebody else has 3492.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, so that's good. We have
some
tonight that have sampled.
You got better numbers than me. I've got what 1601 here. 1599. Yeah, they're not even low numbers here in my house.
We'll have to do a reverse tasting where we send next.
Yeah. So yeah, the other whiskey you have is the Raglan Road. And as you can see, the color is very different. The smell is very different. This one is interesting. So when I was saying about the collaboration whiskies, and this one is probably one of the most challenging, difficult whiskies that we've had to do, because it's an imperial stout finish, which can go wrong in so many ways. I think for quite a while, it literally tasted like a pint of Guinness that had been left out on the counter for 24 hours. You know, and you just go through stages of this is just not working, this is just not right, and you just keep tasting and tasting, and then it improves. And it's a perfect example of, as soon as it is right, as soon as you hit that sweet spot, you take it out, because you can overcook it. So much can change. Because they're down in Monaghan, so they're local. So if you think like the Finisher's Touch, those casks basically going over to Madeira Island back. You've got casks coming from Lexington. You've got casks coming from Normandy. You've got the Finca Museum cask coming from Rioja. These were down in Monaghan. So they were about, I would say, so I'm doing Raglan Road 2 at the moment, because this Raglan Road is actually officially sold out now over here. And it took me about 40 minutes to drive there. So when we sent them the cask, they made the Imperial Stout. The same day that the Imperial Stout was taken out is the same day that we drove down, got the casks, raced back to the bonded warehouse, and got the whiskey straight into the casks, because you've got about 7 or 8 hours before things can start going wrong. Bacteria can start building and all of that when it comes to Imperial Stout, or when it comes to just kind of beer ones as well, because they're a lot lower in ABV. Like with the Finisher's Touch, one left about a quarter of Madeira in each of the casks on the road back, on the travel back. So that kept them fresh. But Imperial Stout, low ABV, we're on the clock. So yeah, we're doing Raglan Road 2 now. This one was bourbon and Madeira casks that had Imperial Stout made in them. But the latest one, Raglan Road 2, that just went into cask there about 2 weeks ago, that is actually Calvados casks that the Imperial Stout was made in. So this one is bourbon and Madeira. It's a 5-year-old. It's cask strength. And it's got a lot going on with it. It's very complex. It's very, very different to the other whiskies. And if you give it a smell there, it's got that kind of rich, that dark nose. People get things like orange candy sweets, nutmeg, toffee, caramel, all that kind of coming through. Everybody seems to get different notes from this whiskey. Has anybody tried it before tonight? No, so it's 54.9% ABV, 5-year-old single malt. This is the first of the juice that is different to the other whiskies, as in the other ones were Cooley, and this one is Great Northern. Raglan Road 2 will be Great Northern as well. The Shelbourne that I'm releasing next week will be is GND as well. So if you want to have a little taste of it there. You can feel that power that's already coming from that cask strength. You get that caramel, honey nut Cheerios. I don't know if you guys have that over there, do you?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what most people kind of get. Everybody kind of gets that coming through. Yeah, it's beautiful whiskey. It's it's like I said, it's already sold out over here. I think we have there's about 20 cases in Canada, I think, that are still in the distribution. And then where else would have some, like you guys have some there? I'm not even.
Well, California, he probably still has some.
Yeah.
Potentially a few cases anyway.
But I like these. I like these small batches. I like the fact that they're especially like the big and beautiful ones like this, and then they're there for a little bit and then they're gone, you know, and then they're just a little part of history, and you move on to the Raglan Road too, you know. And Imperial Stout finish, but using Madeira casks, so it all kind of ties in.
There's, I guess, the official tasting notes, and Wayne, I know you and I had a conversation about the marketing and official tasting notes. So
yeah, like these pound cake and stuff like that. Look, at the end of the day, I might kind of decide projects and kind of blend and come up with ideas and stuff like that. But when that whiskey is decided that it's ready, it goes off. We have a specialist taster who does our tasting notes for us, and yeah, so you get some interesting notes there. He's a very successful and he's very, very good at what he does. But yeah, like pound cake, to be honest with you, I don't think I've had pound cake.
Well, didn't you tell me that you saw one that said it tasted like the sun or something?
Yeah, texture of the sun.
Yeah, so
and that one got me, because I'm like, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to agree or disagree with that. I think I've seen roadkill on a wine tasting note before. So yeah, so basically when I'm doing tastings, like there are the obvious notes that you will get, you know, like the orange shines through, and that kind of that spice, that caramel, that rich, even that honey nut Cheerios, that one I kind of laughed, because I'm like, I actually do get that, you know, and a lot of people get that, but everybody will get their own different notes from each whiskey. See, there you go. Look, the black cherry on the nose, and there is absolutely no wrong tasting notes, or you know, or nose on a whiskey. Same with wine. So it's what makes it fascinating, is that everybody kind of gets their own thing. There are, yes, those dominant kind of notes that you'll get it, especially on the nose.
yeah, that's why
yeah,
I did the tasting notes slide after we had tried it. Didn't want to bias anybody's opinion.
Yeah, there's they also made, so this collaboration was interesting because they released the Imperial Stout that they made in those casks as well. So there is a Breton Brewhouse Jack Ryan Imperial Stout.
What so with do you have a I know you said kind of when stuff's ready, it's ready, but do you kind of plan out and say we want to have a certain?
Oh yes, I plan out all the time.
So plan on, but like for your releases this year, or maybe for next year, like do you have, we want to release something every 3 months, every 6 months? Do you kind of, how do you structure it?
Yeah, so like it'll kind of go back and forth. I'll bounce my ideas, Ewan will bounce his ideas, Connor will bounce his ideas, and we'll kind of come to decisions. But like on my kind of side of things, I have kind of my projects that I'm kind of have already got in the process, and I have in my head when those are going to be released. But it will come down to taste. So the Shelbourne that I'm releasing next week, that one's gone into the Irish Whiskey Awards. So watch out for the Irish Whiskey Awards results, and hopefully we did well. But that one is a 5-year-old Oloroso finish, and it was going to be released at 46%. I'm not going to lie, it was. And then China came along and wanted cask strength. So there was allocation sent over there, and I had 2 bottles left over, brought it to Whiskey Live. The reception was absolutely incredible at Whiskey Live, at cask strength. And everyone told us this is the way you should be releasing it here as well. We want to try it here. And so we've decided to release it at, hold on, sorry, what's these questions? It's funny, I was just watching the show there earlier and they were drinking a bottle of that. Not in the works, but you never know. Anything's possible. On the Shelbourne now, that's Oloroso. It's 5-year-olds, cask strength 57.5%. And I'm doing them in batch releases. So batch 1, batch 2, and batch 3 are in the works. They're each 3 casks. And batch 1 is 5. Batch 2 on December 13th will be a 6-year-old. But that doesn't mean we'll be taking it out. Then it just means that's when it becomes 6. It'll all depend on when we think it tastes exactly the way we want it to taste. So we're very, very, very conscious of quality in Jack Ryan. There's so much we could have done and brought out that we haven't, because the quality can't be compromised. And also the value for it as well. So there's
Batch 1 Shelbourne. How many bottles do you expect?
980 bottles there will be.
Okay.
980 bottles in batch 1, 980 in batch 2, and 980 in batch 3. Regardless of whether I take out those 3 casks and find 985, it's still going out at 980.
All right. And so people can look for that and try to grab a bottle before the rescheduled Irish Whiskey Awards, because if you win, everybody will go out and want a bottle and you won't be able to get it. So try to corner the market before the award.
It's what I like about it. It's I do really love these small releases, you know, and like obviously it's great to have a core whiskies that people love and can repeatedly get. That's also great, but there's just something very special about a small batch whiskey where there is a limited amount of bottles. The bottles are numbered, the bottles are signed by Ewan himself. And when they're gone, they're just a part of kind of history, and you go on to the next one, you know, and keeps it exciting.
It's almost too bad we can't have an IWSA club cask.
Yeah. So batch 2 as well, that's going to be 6-year-old. Batch 3 is something I'm really looking forward to. So when I came on board, so my background has kind of covers all the categories. So there's a lot of my time was spent working in wine as well. And one of my favorite wineries, Domaine Le Sarabande, over in the Languedoc in France. I contacted them the minute I came on board, and I was like, look, I really want to do a collaboration with you guys. Something that I love your wines, and I want everybody else to kind of see what that can come across in a whiskey. And they would predominantly do what they just do, Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvedre. So I have started the collaboration with them. They sent me over a Grenache cask. So batch 3 of the Shelbourne is being finished. It's actually in the Grenache casks already. And I think that's going to be incredible because you just don't see it. I haven't found a Grenache cask finished whiskey on the market. Certainly not one that says that anyway. Like that comes back to that kind of like red wine finish that you will see on some whiskies, and like they can be fantastic whiskies. Not taken away from them from that, or even the fact that it says red wine is just, for me, I like the idea that you know exactly what red wine, where that cask came from, whose winery it came from, which of their wines was in it, you know, the quality of the wine that was in it before. So you also now know what to expect that is going to have on the influence of the whiskey. So I'm really excited for that one.
I've had a number of really great GSMs, and Mourvedre is one of my favorites.
I really wanted to do that. I actually know I did. I begged them for Syrah, Grenache, and Mourvedre casks, and I'm like, I want to do the very first kind of GMS finished whiskey, you know. And but look, we got their Grenache casks. It's what they had available. They just taken it out, so shipped it straight away. Got the whiskey straight into it.
That's gonna be a really sweet tasting whiskey.
It's going to be fantastic. Like, even when I just took the butt out just to kind of just smell in the cask before any juice went into it, it's incredible. You can already tell it's going to have a big impact on the whiskey. And that's why I said, that's why I like those collaboration finishes, especially if you already know what the whiskey tastes like before it went in. So by tasting the Beggars Bush, you have that kind of that original taste, that Jack Ryan original taste, and then you take that same juice and you put it into Justino's Madeira cask, and it takes on a whole different profile. You then have the Haddington, which is your old Guyana rum cask finish, and again that takes another turn. My wife says she'll only drink Green Spot. Yes, she will notice the difference, the vast difference, as she's drinking a pot still versus a single malt. But it's definitely worth a shot. Yeah.
The Shelbourne batch 1, is that going to be made available at Irish Malts, do you think?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I'm definitely putting it forward to them.
Okay. Yeah, in terms of how people, if they want to jump on that.
Yeah. The funny thing is, it was you guys who gave me the reminder to make sure I send that offering. So after I spoke to you, I was on Irish Malts. Like, hey, do you want to take in some Shelbourne? So yeah, but look, it hasn't officially been released yet. Like, this Christmas, we're doing something really interesting. So we are doing personalized bottles this Christmas.
I saw that.
So
yep.
Yeah, so that will be good, and that's just on the Shelbourne batch 1 and on the Beggars Bush. So it's just kind of a chance for the gift giver as well to give a nice present, and for the person to have a bottle of Jack Ryan with their own name on it. So be nice.
Is that available for mail order though in any way? To hear, or is that only in?
Yeah, no, it is. It's available through Celtic Whiskey.
Okay.
Online. So yeah, the whatever name you choose to have on that bottle will be handwritten on by Ewan himself. So he's going to have a busy Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have a very busy Christmas, and I've warned him about it already. So yeah, it'll be good. So we made a whole new label, which I put together a really nice message on the label, and then Whoever buys the bottle will say what name they want to go on it, and Union will write the name on it. I had to make sure I split it into two time frames, because originally when I'd set it up, it runs until the 31st of November, and then the lists are to be sent over to me, and then they will be delivered back to the shop, handwritten, by the 15th of December for the customers to pick up and bring to whoever it is they're given to for Christmas. But I've split it into two sections now, because it's just thinking of poor Union. So it's now the 15th and the 31st. So at least he'll have that little, he can space it out basically. Which whiskey is that personalized? So it is the first whiskey that you tried there tonight, and the Shelbourne batch 1, which hasn't been released yet. I'm releasing it next week. I literally only got the labels approved, so you can't just make a label and slap a label on a bottle. It literally has to be approved by the government and make sure everything is above board. And what is the price range for the Beggars Bush and Raglan Roads in the US, if known? This was a really interesting one to me, because I seen two shorts today on YouTube, and I think one of them was in around the region of $46, he said. I love that word, bucks. And somebody else was something like, I think it was something like 65 or 70. It was a vast difference. Obviously two very different places.
That's pretty common, actually. It's a little frustrating.
That must be very frustrating.
People, particularly if it's a brand that you drink, you plan on buying repeatedly, you really want to know your pricing, because you can go into one store versus another and $10, $20. So it's kind of like one store, or I got to buy Green Spot here, but when I buy Powers, I got to go to that place down the street kind of thing, because the pricing is all over the place. So I'm not surprised, but I was going to say,
you get it a bit here as well. Like over here, it's more because like when you will sell out at one particular price, but then it is up to the listing what margin they take from it, what retail they put it on the shelf for. And it's their shop, it's their decision. So you will find a bit of variation going around Ireland, but yeah, I don't think I've seen drastic jumps like that. So yeah, I don't envy is having to literally shop around. It's like over here, and and you've got Aldi's, Tesco's, Dunn's, and stuff like that. And it's like going around to all of them every bloody week to try and see who's selling it the best.
it's part of the fun, the hunt, right?
Yeah, the hunt. Yeah. Raglan Road. There's what you're saying is it is amazing. You either love or you don't cask strength whiskies. So like this is very controversial. It's not really anything an Irish person should be saying, but like my kind of thing is when it's with cask strength, especially if you're not used to cask strength, you haven't really tried it that much before, is one ice cube rather than adding water. So ice cubes very, very controversial when it comes to Irish whiskey. It's literally like a don't do that. Add a few drops of water, and leave the ice for Scotch. But I like the one ice cube because what it does is it forces you, when you're taking those first few sips, to experience what that whiskey is like coming from that cask, what it's like at that ABV, what it's supposed to be. And then as that kind of ice dissolves, it then kind of dilutes the whiskey bit by bit by bit. Whereas if you throw that kind of water in, you're bringing it down instantly, and you're tasting that 46%. Yeah, and I just think it's fantastic because you get that full expression of that whiskey. You then get every drop in ABV as you try that whiskey going on. in the following sips. And especially if you don't know what type of percentage you like, that kind of gives you an idea as it's going down, sip after sip after sip, finding what suits you right. I wasn't a huge fan of cask strength. I again was one of those people who liked 46%, the 40, the 43. But what you get from the cask strength is you just get an unreal amount of flavor and complexity.
Anybody try with water or ice tonight? Do a comparison.
I got well used to it now. There's no water or ice in mine, isn't.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I put a couple drops of water in after I had had some of it just to do a comparison.
Yeah, no, I love it at cask strength. But there are a lot of people out there who their palate's just not ready for it in that moment. So adding some water in is perfectly fine.
They do have the Raglan at Folsom's for $60. I don't know if that was one of the where the source was on the chat, but I know Folsom's has it for $59.95, and I believe they deliver around the States.
So yeah, what was the biggest driver switching from Cooley to GND? It's not really like that. It's like Cooley could offer us liquid tomorrow and wouldn't be a problem, and it's not a case of one is better than the other. It's at the time we'll go around and we will taste, we will try from different distilleries. That's what it's all about. Being a bonder, being a whiskey finisher allows you to be able to just kind of explore different avenues, and GND it was right at the time. And it's still right. Like Raglan Road has turned out to be a fantastic whiskey.
Do people have a favorite of the night between the two?
I think the Beggars Bush really hits on hits all the bases. I think it's a good well-rounded drinker. The Raglan Road is also good, but it punches really high. It does. For me. It would need an ice cube.
Yeah. On flavor wise though, what would you kind of lean more towards? Are you more that kind of big, bold, complex, rich, dark whiskey, or are you that kind of that light, tropical, crisp, like Beggars Bush style?
It's kind of hard to say because I'm still kind of embarking on my Irish whiskey journey, so I'm still trying to find where my sweet spot is. But each of I really like Imperial Stout finishes. But I really appreciate the simplicity of Beggars Bush.
Yeah, and Raglan Road is, I think this is the first whiskey we're doing where we're doing the collaboration twice. That's how happy we were with it. Like I said, Imperial Stout was really, really hard to do, and it was very, very successful. So yeah, we're doing the second one with them, but yeah, the rest of them have just been kind of once-offs.
I think with some, it's the night you're drinking it too, right? What you're in the mood for, because
like I class the Tumavara as our summertime whiskey, and you've got your Raglan Road, which is very much your winter whiskey. Like it's freezing here and it's doing a good job of warming me up, and then the Beggars Bush I like because of that kind of that oily, viscous mouthfeel that you get from it. Just because it just isn't there in those other whiskies. And that's typical of like an Irish whiskey and that kind of tropical fruit profile as well. That kind of comes through. That's quite typical as well. But it's just very, very well balanced. And then the Haddington again, very impressive. I remember being at Whiskey Live and there was one guy that came up to me and he didn't want to taste. He wanted to taste the whiskey except for the Haddington. It's like, I absolutely despise rum finishes. I hate them. But I stood my ground and I said, if you're going to try all of them, you're going to try all of them. I said, so if I give you a sample of all of these, I said, you must try the Haddington. And if you still hate it, then you hate it. And it ended up being his favorite whiskey out of the entire range, which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
Was it the last one he tried though? Because I've kind of experienced whiskeys that I love at Whiskey Live later in the day that I don't quite like
no,
as much.
I make sure that I'm very kind of strict on if you're trying them all, you either pick one or you try them all. You know, if you're trying them all, you go in order of the Beggars Bush, then you go the Tomb of Ara, then you go the Haddington, then you go the Finisher's Touch, and then you go the Raglan Road, and so on. And at that time, I had brought the Shelbourne with me as well, so that would have gone next. And it's just on style. It's basically that what you get something from the Beggars Bush that you don't get from any of the other whiskies, and then from the Tomb of Ara, which is I classed as our summertime whiskey, which I know sounds a bit bizarre, but try that next because it's that fresh, that crisp, that like apple dominant whiskey. It's beautiful. So I go that one next, and then the Haddington, and then the Finisher's Touch is like that Haddington. You've got that spice, you've got that dried berries, you've got that granola. It all comes through, and then the Finisher's Touch is just incredible. It's an incredible whiskey. It's incredibly smooth, and that's what I kind of that blood orange, that clementine, that tangerine all shines through on the Finisher's Touch. And it's just so smooth. The Finisher's Touch won gold at the Irish Whiskey Awards in 2022. So we've been very successful there. The Haddington won in 2021 and the Tomb of Ara won in 2019. So they won the year they came out, which is good. This is going to be the difficult one because we're in a category, we're in a very, very strong category. So the category this year is 11 years and younger, including non-age statements. And we are a 5-year-old whiskey, so we'll see how we stand up to the big boys.
But it's blind, so it's
that's what I mean. It's blind, so but yeah, you're still you're fighting against whiskies that have been aging for a lot longer.
Yep.
So we'll see, but yeah, we're very, very happy with the whiskey anyway and how it's turned out.
The just as an aside, all of the whiskeys that have been talked about tonight, other than the Shelbourne, are all available at Irish Malts. So,
yeah, every whiskey that we've done so far has been available at Irish Malts.
Because I'm looking, they have all 5. You know, they have the Beggars Bush, they have the Raglan Road, and they have the 3 finishing, the Haddington, the Tomb of Ara, and the Finisher's Touch, all of them in stock.
Yeah.
So if anyone's looking to get their hands on something that they can't get here, you can get it at Irish Malts.
Yeah, and then hopefully at some point it's very close to the end of the year now, but hopefully early enough in 2024 we'll have over the gift pack as well. So I've created a new gift pack. And I wanted to do something a little bit different than what everybody else is doing. So like most gift packs, you'll see 2 glasses or you'll see a hip flask or whatever. So I wanted to do something different. So ours is a 70 cl bottle, and then it is 2 miniature whiskies like what you've received today, but they will be different whiskies than what the 70 cl bottle is. So we're just calling that the Explorer pack. So it's you're basically buying 1 large bottle, but you're getting to try 3 whiskies without committing to 3 large bottles.
Will either of those be unreleased whiskeys or just different ones in the series?
So what we've the portfolio of them we've put together now at the moment is, so we made a generic box. So wherever is going to list can decide what goes in it, can decide the 70 CL that goes in it, can decide the miniatures that go in it. But yeah, we have casks there, and we have projects that are in the works that like we haven't mentioned. Like we're doing Celtic Whiskey Fest on the 9th of November. And at that we'd be hosting that in the Beggars Bush. So that's a big event, and we will be tasting a 17-year-old single malt that we have in cask at that as well. So that will be a whiskey that hasn't been released yet. So yeah, when it comes to those gift packs, there is that opportunity to slot in whatever miniatures we want into it. But again, it'll come down to, like, if we're talking about the States, it'll come down to what the distribution and the States want in their gift pack. But like, if you're talking about buying online from Ireland, you're talking about Irish malts and stuff like that, yeah, there's a lot more scope there from what you could end up finding in a gift box.
What's happening I have seen some social media postings. Maybe tell us a little bit about the what you're doing on the 9th.
I'm really, really looking forward to it because it'll be my first kind of big event. Believe it or not, this is my first virtual live tasting. Nearly all my tastings are at trade shows or in store, and it's very kind of different, you know. And whereas like this tonight and what we're doing at Celtic Whiskey Fest is different. It's very personal. We're going through selection of whiskies. Ewan and Connor will stand up. They'll introduce themselves. They'll tell a bit of the story and everything like that, and then they'll introduce me up, and I'll do the tasting on. We're going to do the Beggars Bush. We're going to do the Generation Trilogy. We're going to do the Raglan Road. We're going to do the Shelbourne Batch 1, and we're going to do a 17-year-old single malt, non-released. Oh, and I'm also, I even forgot about that one. I'm releasing a single cask Diamond Distillery Hasteberry rum finish whiskey next month. So we actually have our rum as well. We don't just do whiskey. So we do rum, and that will be kind of launching in, say, 2024 as well. It'll be high-end rum. And we have a single cask, single malt whiskey, 12-year-old, that we're releasing next month that was finished in those casks.
So you don't distill, but you're doing rum?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
So same as we do with the whiskey, we do with the rum. We'll do interesting finishes.
So I was gonna say, one of your biggest challenges sounds like just keeping track of all your inventory. You've got
that's why it's important that we have our own bonded warehouse, you know. And so yeah, there's more to come.
We've got a bunch of upcoming releases to look forward to, and I think by the looks of things, looks like some people have already started to put some orders in. We're on the tasting tonight, so that's good. I think you've made some new fans tonight of the brand, and some of the people that were already familiar with it, I think, got a chance to try the Raglan Road maybe for the first time. So that's great. I'm looking forward to being able to get a hold of the Shelbourne when it gets released.
Yeah, like I said, the labels just got approved for me there last week, and we will be bottling it probably Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it can start going out to stores.
Yeah, and I think what's great too, so with all the new releases coming, we'll be able to potentially schedule a future tasting again, where we can try your next several releases or whatever at the time. So that's something to look forward to, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, like I said, it's my first virtual tasting event, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. I'm sure I'll learn as I go on in them as well. If there's anything that I didn't cover, Allan, I'll pass you on my email if there's ever any questions you want to ask, or if there's things you want to find out about Jack Ryan, or when things are coming out, or how you can get things, let me know. And if I don't have the answer, I'll put you on to the right person that will be able to find out that answer, because I know it's difficult. I don't even know where it is in certain places. You know what states it's going out to, but you don't know what stores it's going into until those stores like post up, like today when you're seeing on Reels, and I think it's like Martin's online, Martin's off license, I think it was called. And they were doing a review of the Raglan Road in store, and that's nice because that gives us that kind of that information of where things are available. So yeah, if I can point you in the right direction, or if there's any questions you want to ask, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, if anybody locates any of the Jack Ryan whiskeys, during their hunt, share it with the group on WhatsApp or let me know, because then I can let people know if it's in a particular state or where they can get it, that kind of thing. That information is always helpful for everybody. So, all right, well, great. Well, thank you very much, Wayne. Again, appreciate you taking the time with us. We look forward to being able to do this again down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pass your information along, and we'll talk soon. Good luck. And
I'll keep a bottle of Shelbourne there for you as well, anyway, for when you come over in November.
Oh, great. And hopefully we can share a glass, and it'll be a congratulatory.
Yeah, you never know.
But either way, it's great that you're being recognized in the awards. So I think you'll have a lot of fun when they're able to put that on.
Yeah, no, it'll be a nice event.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I do appreciate it. I know everybody's busy and has other commitments and things, so this was great that you could all spend a little time with us tonight. All right, well, again, everybody, and have a good night. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, have a good evening, guys. Take care.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Yep, that's great.
You're very welcome.
Wayne. Thanks, Wayne.
Very welcome.